Hi, this is Congressman Mark Green, and I am here with Rebecca Kiessling, who has tragically lost two children to the fentanyl crisis in our country. Rebecca, thank you for being with me. And I wanted to just start by having you share with us, how this fentanyl crisis, your story, how this has impacted you and your family.
Well, I didn't even know what fentanyl was. I didn't know about Narcan. I didn't even know I should have it in my house. I didn't know about fake pills. I had heard of the opioid crisis and that it was doctors were prescribing, opioids like candy and Xanax and all kinds of other things. And I knew that parents left it, oftentimes unlocked in their medicine cabinets. And that's how my boys got started. When my oldest son, Caleb, was a freshman in high school, kids brought it to school from their parents' medicine cabinets. And he, told me he got clean from it. And I just had heard that it ruins people's lives. They get addicted to it. They have trouble working, studying. I didn't know people died from it. You don't hear about people dying from, Percocet. That's what I thought the opioid crisis was. On July 29th of 2020, both of my boys died along with the 17-year-old girl in the same school district at a hotel in Auburn Hills, Michigan. And that's when I learned about these fake Percocets. When the toxicology came back, and it turns out that there were fake Percocets found, and there were zero Percocet. It was 100% fentanyl. And I learned that there were, in 2000, the year Caleb was born, he was 20 when he passed away. Kyler was 18. In 2000, there were 20,000 drug-related deaths in the United States. The year they died, 2020, there were over 100,000. The world has changed so fast. I wasn't paying attention to that data. I didn't realize how much riskier it is today than it was when they were babies. And I think that most people don't know.
What are your thoughts about, what would you, if you were telling another parent, what would you tell another parent, having gone through this horrific experience yourself? What's the message you want other parents to know today?
You have to check their rooms. You have to check their social media. You have to check their messaging. I tried to do that. Unfortunately, I didn't have all the support I needed for that. But, there's nothing safe that's on the streets. And if you suspect at all, make sure that you have Narcan in your house. I got Narcan training afterwards, and I brought it over to a friend of mine whose son had started back up on fake Xanax pills. And this parent in my neighborhood didn't know what Narcan was. So they were able to watch a training video online. Narcan saves lives. The drug dealer was saved with Narcan, and he got 8 to 15 years for what he did, killing 3 people, which to me is far too lenient. I was really upset with the coroners finding that they died of a drug abuse. And they didn't die from an overdose of their drugs of choice, which were Xanax and Percocets. They died from fentanyl poisoning. It's murder. It's homicide. Yeah. And I think the language we use is very important. We don't have 100,000 people dying in our country from drug abuse, from drug overdose. And it could be put in anything nowadays. I've met parents where it had put in their child's water, drinks. Anybody can just drop something in. There's people who could die from performing CPR on someone who has just a speck of fentanyl.
So the Secretary of Homeland Security has said that our southern border is secure, and of course we know better. We know that the fentanyl that's coming across our southern border is just, exponentially higher in the past year. And of course, the number of deaths, things like you've experienced, these incidences are going up all over the country. The sheriffs in my state are saying that the price of fentanyl on the street is now plummeting because of this massive supply. Is there anything that you would want to tell Secretary Mayorkas about your experience?
You're not doing enough. I mean, I read about some of these drug busts, and one of them was enough to kill hundreds of thousands of people. And that's just one drug bust. There's enough fentanyl in our country now to wipe out, probably almost our entire population. It's insane that it gets in so readily. There are people, I've met parents where their kids got it via the mail as well, straight from China. There has to be more done to monitor and to end this. If we had 100,000 die from, overseas at war, people would be outraged, at the tragic loss. And people act like, well, they were drug addicts, like they're just disposable. And my boys they were good kids. And they're putting fentanyl in everything nowadays. It's being put in marijuana, in drinks, in Percocets and Xanax and meth and cocaine, anything you can find. I'm in support groups where there's thousands being added to these groups every day. It's shocking, and it just seems like there's no end to it, and someone's got to do something.
Well, thank you for taking some time to share your story today. And my wife and I and our team send our condolences to you and give you the assurance that I will do everything within my power and in my office to see this stopped. You can count on it. Again, thank you. Really appreciate you doing this today. Is there anything else that you would want to say?
I have a picture of my boys. This was like kind of the last professional photo that we had with our kids. And that's Caleb and Kyler. And they were 18 and 20 years old.